What's poppin' T Squad? It's your girl Keisha, and I'm here with tonight's All Tea All Shade Power Ghost Book 2 season premiere. Caesar's series premiere. Dummy. Blah, blah, blah. Anywho, so I was very excited about the opening because I wanted to see were they going to do anything different. They actually ended up keeping the same song by Joe, but they did new visuals. The visuals were cute. I wish they would have did something different, a totally new vibe, something different. I don't really mind them keeping the song, but visually I wish they would have did something just totally different, make it totally something, unique in its own. But it was cute for the most part. I guess they learned their lesson by trying to change it like they did last season with the Trey Songz thing. So we start off this series with Tyrique getting dressed for a meeting at the dean's office. He's at this college called Stansfield. I don't know how he was just in high school, now he in college, but the nigga is there. Tasha is at jail, and she's going into the jail in her orange jumpsuit with her D'Angelo braids to the back, and the CO says that she doesn't look like a murderer. She's seen murderers, and this bitch ain't no murderer, and she ain't no battered wife. Like, you can try to pull this shit in court, bitch, but you can't pull it with me. So Tasha is scared, bitch, because she is little and she's gonna get fucked. So Tariq granny, we seen more out of Debbie, what was her name? Debbie Morgan than we ever have in the whole 6th season of Power. We saw more of her this episode than we ever did the whole series of Power. So they at the courthouse preparing for Tasha's court hearing, and Tariq tells his grandmother the grandmother tells Tariq to come home with her and Yasmin. And Yasmin's like, yeah, brother, come on with me. Yasmin is now 12. Yasmin went from a baby this first season. We didn't see her ass. She was missing. Then she was like 2 or 3. Then she went missing again. Came back again. She was like 7. Now she's 12. Child, I don't know why they created the character. She's a throwaway character. I don't even know why she's there. So Tamika, we find out, is Tasha's lawyer. Where they come from, I don't the fuck know, writers, but okay, we gonna roll with it because they just doing anything at this point. So Tamika tells them that Tasha is gonna have to say who killed James, gonna have to say that she killed James in self-defense for less time, because they're gonna play the whole thing like she was abused, a better wife. I mean, she really technically was, because nigga treated her like shit, and this fuck James for life. So Tariq wants to talk to his mama because he's like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, she doing too much. I already don't want her ass in jail. Like, where the fuck this shit come from? But Tamika says no, like, we don't have time for all that. So in court, the defense breaks down how Tasha killed Ghost. They got this whole story that ain't none of it's true. Like, I'm like, where the fuck y'all get this shit from? So Tamika says when she stands up that they can show Tasha's bruises from the night before Ghost was killed, how he was abusive. And the judge gives Tasha no bail. She was like, bitch, you ain't going nowhere. You are behind bars. And I realized that was old girl from The Sopranos that was the judge. So she played one of the characters on The Sopranos. So Tyrique has a meeting with Simon Stern so Tariq gets a reminder that he has a meeting with Simon Stern in 30 minutes. So Tariq is running all over New York. So Jenny, Tamika, and Tasha meet up in the office to discuss a plea deal. Tamika shows pics of all the dead bodies that James accumulated and asks Tasha, does she think he did it? She was like, I know I was gonna be next. Tamika warns Jenny, like, bitch, if you take this to trial, like, we gonna come with everything we got and we gonna prove that he was a psychopath, murderer, abusive ass killer. So now Jenny a little shook on what to do. So Tariq shows up late to his meeting with Simon Stern and the dean of Stansfield. And the dean wants him to tutor a basketball star named Ezekiel. And the dean asks him, does he like basketball? And before he can even respond, Simon Stern says, of course he does, on some old racist ass shit. He is racist as fuck. And Tyrique looked at him like, what? Watch yourself, old man. Like, bitch, please. So we find out that Ezekiel will be his new roommate, and that if he doesn't pass all of Ezekiel's classes, help him to pass all his classes, Tyrique will be kicked out of Stansfield. And I'm like, ain't that some bullshit? So now things are really mounting up. So now he has the pressure of getting his mother out of jail, maintaining all of his classes, maintaining all of Ezekiel's classes, and coming up with money and product and all of this shit. So Tyrique is lost trying to walk around the fucking campus and shit, and he meets a freshman by the name of Lauren. Now I've seen this little girl. She's been acting since she was a young girl. She's a very pretty, cute little girl. And she's light skinned, and I was like, light skinned girl for real? Like, I get so tired of them putting, African American guys character on television with light skinned girls. So I was like, are we really doing this again? But okay, at least she a sister, but what the fuck ever. But I was like, okay, cute. So they talk about, he tells her, he asked me where Caradad or Caradad, I think that's the lady's name, her character, who is going to be his minority student counselor. And she was like, oh, she's mine too, or whatever. So she gives him, the lay of the land or whatever, and was like, basically, I'll see you around and good luck with everything. So he meets with the Caradad lady who, and he doesn't understand why he's meeting with her because he's been going to all white schools his whole life. But the lady tells him that they're worried about, everything that's been going on in his family. And like, if you need anybody to talk to, I'm here. So he brings up him graduating early, and she wants to know why he's such in a rush. Like, you just got here. And he says that he has to help his family, but he really wants to graduate early because once he graduates he can get that money that his daddy left him. So she says that her class requires a verbal entry exam because if he takes her class it can help him to graduate early. So he was like, bet, I can do it, I can take it. So she gives him the book on what he'll have to read in order to do this verbal exam. So Tamika meets up with Tasha, and she tells Tasha the DA has agreed to 4 years probation for all of her charges. Somebody wants all of your husband's secrets to remain a secret. You go home tomorrow. So Tamika says, when it comes to quitting testimony, he said you all were on a schedule, and you arrived at the precise moment you knew James would be alone. How did you know James would be alone that night? Tasha wants to know why. What does that have to do with anything? So Tamika tells her that the prosecutors will question her in front of the judge, and if she don't get this shit right, it's gonna make everything worse for both of them. So she needs to give up her accomplice. Tasha says no. Like, of course she's gonna say no because we all know who the real killer was. It was Tyrique. So Tamika asks, is it her son? And Tasha was like, no. And she was like, is it your son? So Tasha was like, you know what, bitch, you're fired. Bye. Get the fuck out of here. Because she was getting too close to the truth. She was like, would you go this far for your son? Let me know down below in the comment section. Would you go this far for your child? If it was Kyrese, would I protect Kyrese if it has anything to do with his future and me being behind bars? Absolutely not. You decide to kill that nigga, bitch, you gonna do the time. I'm gonna be out here. I'll visit you every 2 weeks. Not I. I ain't getting my booty tampered with in jail. Bitches beating me up. No, ma'am. Hitting me over the head with plates and shit and shanking me. Nope. So, Tamika said, you will lose your deal if you fire me. And so she was like, basically, I don't care about that deal. Bye. So Tamika calls Tyrique and tells him that Tasha fired her and that she knows that she's protecting someone else. He was like, did she say who? She was like, no. But I mean, is it you she's protecting? So she tells Tyrique that he'll need to get a new lawyer who doesn't need the truth to win. We need another proctor. And I was like, who is going to be the proctor of this series? So in comes Method Man, who will be the proctor of this series. And I love it. So he's playing a character by the name of Davis. Tyrique is in court watching him. I'm like, ain't he supposed to be in class? But okay, I guess he got all this time to be running around New York. So after seeing his performance in court, he realizes this is the perfect person to represent my mother. So he corners him after court and asks him to represent Tasha. And dude was like, no, and no autographs, no pictures, please. And Tariq was like, I ain't want no fucking pictures. I'm asking you, can I hire you? He was like, you need $500K, then we could talk. So he was like, I bet. So Granny begs Tyrique to talk to her as he's looking through some boxes. He's trying to find information in these boxes that his mom had. So he was like, I don't want to talk, Granny. Like, God damn it, leave me the fuck alone. So he asked her for the books for the daycare as Tasha calls. Tasha asks to talk to him. He gets on the phone. He asks his grandma, can we have a minute alone? She's like, why can't I hear a conversation? I was like, Debbie Morgan, go sit your ass the fuck down with your aggravating ass. So he asks her, he goes into a room alone and asks Tasha why he fired Tamika. And he asks her, does any of the parents from the daycare need help? And asks about, the stripper girl from last season that Tasha had, selling product for her. Tasha tells him to focus on school and, don't worry about the daycare. Don't try to start that shit up again. again. And she's like, promise me you won't do it. And he promises her, but of course his ass was lying. So he finds the girl Epiphany anyway. So he's standing outside the he finds the girl name in one of the books that Tasha had. So we learned that her name was Epiphany. So Cara Dad goes to one of her Lord, I'm losing my brain. One of her workmates, I can't think of the correct word. And his name was Jabari. Jabari was kind of cute and asked for another student interview for Tyrique. He was like, he rich, like, oh, he don't need our help, like, we good. So she tells him to don't make this about their situation. So at that point, we found out they used to fuck around. So I was like, are they about to be the new Angela and old boy from season 1? I was like, are we about to do this again? Please not. So she then asked him to meet Tyrique anyway. He was like, I'll meet him, but if I'm not impressed, then oh, the fuck what? So that night, Tariq waits outside the strip club for Epiphany and asks if she willing to make some extra money. Mind you, that is not the girl that played the Epiphany character from last season of Power. That is not the same girl. This girl actually acts better, and I liked her more, and I want to see more of her because she was funny as shit. She milked that 5 seconds she had on screen to a T, goddammit. So, she tells him, yeah, she'll do it, but he got to find his own product. So Tyrique is back at school, and Braden is the little white boy that he was friends with last season, who's, I guess, supposed to be the Tommy to his Ghost. The little boy Braden is a legacy kid. A legacy kid, meaning his family has gone there. His family has donated and bought buildings for the school, so he got money. So that's the difference between him and Tommy's character, because Tommy grew up poor. So Braden brings up Effie and how everything we're left with Tariq and Effie last season. Well, not last season, but on the show, months prior. So Effie had played him last season and, snitched him out to the school. So Tariq asks for her number and he pulls up on her and she says that, he brings up how she ruined his life and, got him kicked out of school. And she was like, it wasn't personal. It was just business. Like, you was the competition. I had to get you the fuck up out of here. Like, you had everything handed to you. I was struggling to pay for books or whatever. So he asked, was she just playing him the whole time? And she was like, no, like, I really liked you or whatever. So she gave him the product and like try to push up on him. He was like, it's just business, sweetheart. And he took the deuces up on her ass because he wasn't paying her for that motherfucking product. So I was like, I wonder if we're going to see any more of her, or was that the last time we'll see her character on screen? So the next day, Tariq wakes up late again for the student interview with Cara Dad, or whatever her name is, Jabari, and their other Professor Oliver, this white guy. So they asked him about the book that he was supposed to read, and Tariq, was giving them reasons, and then realizes when they asked him one of the questions, damn it, I'm stuck because he didn't read the whole book. So he admits that he didn't fucking read it. He says because he didn't relate to the character and didn't have the time to do it because, in real life, he does have a lot of shit going on. So the guy Oliver tells Cara Dad it was a waste of time and that she shouldn't be caping for somebody that ain't even doing what the fuck they need to do. So Jabari kind of takes up for Tariq a little bit, but also agrees like he didn't read the fucking book. So Cara Dad asks to give him another shot. She sees something in him for some reason. So Tasha meets with her public defender. The lady is all over the place. She don't know what the fuck is going on. The prosecutor, Jenny, comes in and says Tasha didn't do it because of the height of the shooter was between 5'11" and 6 feet. And Tasha character is like 5 feet tall, if that, 4'11" at the most. And says that she set Quentin up to take the fall. Jenny says if they go to trial, they can charge her with murder. Tasha then lies and tells them that Dre did it. So she just pinning it on anybody at this point. So Sax walks into his office to find John, the little Asian guy from, the last 2 seasons of Power, and a man by the name of Steven who works for the Democratic Party, because remember, Ghost was trying to run for congressman or whatever. So the guy Steven says he doesn't want any of Jane's past to come up in court because it's going to make the Democratic Party, of course, look horrible. So John wants him to charge Tasha under the Kingpin statute, but Sax like, I know she didn't do it. Like, she wasn't a head. She was an accomplice, but she wasn't a leader of this, and I saw her bruises. I can't do it. So John tells Sax that he owes him for getting him the U.S. attorney job and that he can take it away. So now Sax is by the balls once again. So Tyrique goes to his new room and finds Zeke fucking this girl doggy style or whatever. He was like, oh shit, like I can come to back my G. Like, what the fuck? Girl was like, get out of here, please. So Sax goes to dinner with his family. We see that he comes from this rich, affluent family, but he is the fuck up of the family. They tease him, they call him Nancy. Like, they treat him with so much disrespect, and it was funny as hell. So after dinner, his brother offers him a job because he knows that he's gonna fuck this whole thing up. And of course, we know Sax is gonna fuck up because Sax is a fuck up and he's a douchebag. So Zeke takes Tyrique to a house party of his out in Queens that is being thrown by his aunt Monet. And it's to celebrate him being getting into Stansfield. So the party is popping. Everybody in that motherfucker, it is lit. Monet's kids are his cousins, but you know, they're like his siblings because they all came up together. So Tariq goes to the bathroom and catches Woody McClain character in the bathroom getting head. He getting topped off. So he was like, whoa. So I'm like, Tariq just walking in on everybody fucking. So Zeke introduces Tariq to his cousin Drew, who kind of like give him the side eye. He's a little light-skinned little nigga, whatever, looking like special ed and some shit. And he kind of look at him like, this nigga here. Like, you can already tell he ain't feeling Tariq or whatever. So and they gonna have beef. So then he introduces Tyrique to his cousin Diana, who is a gorgeous chocolate girl. She is just so pretty, gorgeous smile, and right off the rip, Tyrique was feeling her and she was feeling him. So he was Woody's character comes down the step in this god awful ass windbreaker fucking jogging suit. I was like, where is he going with this bullshit on? This is not in fashion, but okay, stylist. So Tariq tells Diana, he was like, yo, I just seen him in the bathroom getting head. She was like, oh, that's my brother Kane. And that nigga Rail right there, probably looking for the girl he was with that was giving him head. So then we see the altercation between them go down, and Rail asks Kane where his girl is at. He was like, nigga, what the fuck you asking me for? And Woody plays ignorant characters well. We all see how he played Bobby Brown. He played the fuck out of Bobby Brown and do a dish story. So the dude was like, nigga, so Monet comes outside as they argue, and everybody is shook because you can tell that Monet is that bitch, and Monet is played by none other than the Mary J. Blige. And this is the first role so far that I have seen where Mary J. Blige comes off as a natural. Most times when we see Mary J. Blige play characters, you know, she has this blinking problem that she does with her eyes all the goddamn time. But in this character, she seemed like settled in it, I guess because it's so close to her real life, you know, being in that environment. I did think that she did a great job on Umbrella Academy season 1. It was something very different from her, but I think this is the character for her because it's something that she knows and can portray. So everybody is shook when Monet came outside because everybody knows she that bitch and she runs shit around her. So she was like, Real, take your ass the fuck home. And he was like, nah. So he tried to swing on Kane. Kane didn't hit him with a one hit a motherfucking quitter bitch. And so everybody like, ooh. And so Monet tells Zeke to take his ass in the house, you know, because he's the star of the family. She can't let him get hurt. Like, nigga, no, you don't need to be nowhere near around it. So he go in the house. Rail didn't get beat the fuck up by Kane or whatever. And he was like, after he get beat up, he was like telling his girlfriend to come on. She was like, no, I think I'm gonna stay. On some oh shit. So he leaves and Monet was like, he'll be back. And Kane was like, yep, he gonna bring something. She was like, well, shit, you know what to do. And I was like, what kind of mother-son relationship with this shit? Y'all worse than Tommy and Kathy or Katie ass, whatever his goddamn mama name was. But I was low-key here for it. So Diana and Tyrique are upstairs in the house, and she's showing him her family photos. And she tells him about her family. They're Black and Puerto Rican. Her father was Puerto Rican, and it's the three of them. As far as siblings, it's Diana, Drew, and Kane, and Monet as their mom. So her dad is in jail, we find out. And then we heard Rail back outside telling Kane to come the fuck on. Come back outside. So she's like, oh God, like this nigga here. So everybody go outside to see what the fuck is going on. Monet tells Rail to go on the fuck home, like he got a strap. He was like, nah, you can't keep on protecting him. He needs to stop hiding behind his mama. She was like, look, you're gonna get your ass killed. So then here comes Kane coming out the driveway with a motherfucking shotgun about to blow this nigga head the fuck off when the police pull up. But the police are being paid off by Monet. She has a relationship with the police, obviously, because of her street status. So I don't even, did they even show what happened after that with Rail? I think he's no. I'm tripping. They did show. I guess he just left or whatever that night. So as they're standing on the porch, Tariq gets a text message from Braden saying, we got to meet up or whatever. So he was like, I gotta go. Old girl Diana was like, is that your girlfriend? He was like, nah, I ain't got no girlfriend. So she was looking at him like, hey. And so Tariq left, and her brother Drew, the little light skinned one, was looking at her like, you sweating this nigga? Like, what the fuck? Like, so it's gonna be a problem between Drew and Tariq. So Saxe talks to Tamika about the case, and low-key tells on himself that he was at Truth that night with a gun trying to kill fucking Ghost. So she was like, look, you ain't gonna get me in trouble and get me put under, oath and gotta tell the truth. So she put him the fuck out and was like, you got to get the fuck out. She was clapping them hands and shit, and I was like, come on, Tamika. I was just happy they got her a better wig, because she was looking like Condoleezza Rice in the first 2 seasons. So Braden's at the strip club trying to pay with credit cards and shits, and the stripper's like, no, baby, we use bitcoins. I take bitcoins, bitch, not no damn debit and credit. So Tyrique in the back, and he gives Epiphany the drugs, and she was like, all right. So they made their little transaction. So he got somebody out here selling product for him again. So Kane, we see, come down the step, and he kills Rail. Shoot that nigga up in the motherfucking stairwell. And so he goes outside, gets in the car with his mama, and she just look at him, and then she grabs a towel and wipes the blood off his face. And I was like, well, okay, he in the family business, bitch. So Tariq texts Epiphany that he needs his cut from his burner phone while Zeke is in the same room. So Lauren then texts him to have coffee, and he got a little smile on his face because he low-key feeling hurt too. So I was like, he about to be in a little triangle just like his daddy, light skin versus dark skin. We about to do this shit again, Courtney Kemp and them. She does this shit on purpose at this point. So Saxe meets with Jenny about the case or whatever. Lauren tells Tariq that Cardot is giving him another chance and that she's there to help. But he tells her he don't need no help because he already read the book. And they go back and forth about the book and the choice of killing someone. And he says that it is a choice. And she tells him then you need to give these same thoughts to them when you have your next exam. And she says, I'm going to go to the bathroom. So when she goes to the bathroom, Saxe pulls up on Tariq and tells him that they know that someone else pulled the trigger and that Tasha said it was Dre, but it couldn't have been Dre because they checked his clothes and there was no residue in his clothes. So Tariq is shook like, fuck. So Tariq tells him if he doesn't fix this, he'll have to tell, the prosecutor that he saw Saxe at Truth that night. So Saxe was like, you know what? You ain't got to do all that, girlfriend. I'll talk to Jeannie to try to get that deal again, but he has to get his mama to tell the truth. So Tariq returns to his room and asks to use Zeke's phone to go on IG Live because he don't have Instagram on his phone. And I was like, why you just didn't fucking download it? But okay. But then he also wanted to use it because Zeke has a lot of followers because of his status. So he goes outside, he makes a video post about thanking Davis for taking his mom's case. So now Davis is forced to have to oblige and take the case, which was smart. So Tariq has his exam again and tells Cardad or Caradad or Caravan or whatever the fuck her name is, Jabari and Oliver, his thoughts on the book. And this time he nails it. So Davis and Tariq meet up and he gives him a down payment on him becoming his mom's lawyer. So he gives him 50 stacks. And he was like, this only gonna last you a week, bruh. I'm gonna need the rest. So Tariq tells him that his mom lied about who killed his dad and that he needs to tell his mom that if she loves him, she'll tell the truth because he ain't afraid anymore. So Davis tells Tasha Jenny is offering him the same plea deal she offered Tamika if she tells the truth. So she lies and once again says it's Dre. He was like, girl, we know it ain't Dre. So he asks her to tell the truth. He tells her what Tariq said and Tasha's like, are you sure that's what he said? He was like, yeah. So at this point, I'm thinking like Tariq then came up with some genius plan to tell the truth that he killed his daddy, but he knew a way to get off. So it's the next day in court, and Tariq is there, and Saxe arrives. So I'm really thinking they came up with some type of plan. So Tasha tells the judge that the man that killed James was Tommy. And I'm like, the fuck? Where'd that come from? Like, huh? So of course that's going to I don't even know if the shit gonna get back to Tommy because the shit didn't go nowhere. It was stupid. I didn't understand it. Jenny doesn't believe that Tommy would even turn on him like that and ask, why would he do it? Tasha said, because I asked him to. And I was like, the fuck? Now you trying to say you did have somebody killed? I'm like, what in the fuck is y'all writing over here, Jesus, over there at Power? So Sax then gives Jenny a note from Steven, who was in the courtroom. So he gives her the letter. She got this shook look on her face. And she says, we dropped all the charges. And the judge like, I hope you know what the fuck you're doing. So at this point, I'm like, oh, Tasha out of jail. Okay. Boom, bow. Case closed. But then here comes Sax saying that Tasha's under arrest for the murder of James under the Kingpin statute. And I'm like, the fuck is going on now? So now she being charged for being a kingpin and for hiring, I guess, allegedly hiring Tommy to kill Ghost. So I'm like, is Tommy gonna even make an appearance this season? What in the fuck is going on? This shit is just going around and around in a circle at this point. So Davis confronts Sax and says they both know this isn't a federal case, and then Sax hands him Steven's letter. So he reads it and he looking like, oh hell no. So Davis asks Tyrique what has he gotten him into, and Tyrique was like, the biggest case of your life. You can take down Sax and the whole U.S. attorney's office or whatever the fuck. Like, you about to be the nigga out here in these streets, cuz. So he kind of like, oh shit, like this is gonna be the case of the century. It's gonna be like on some OJ type shit, like, oh yeah. So he was like, all right then, little bro, you owe me $450,000. Let's not forget about that. So Tasha is returned to jail in tears and shit. That same CO from the beginning of the episode is chastising her and making fun of her and shit. Tyrique gets accepted into the class that he wanted to get accepted into and ends up looking up Diana's dad on the internet, and he sees a picture of him coming out of jail with Mary J. Blige standing right beside him. And I was like, okay, Mary, Monet had a giant piece as a husband because daddy was fine. So he realized at that point that Monet is the plug that he needs to get in contact with and start working with, because she is the new bitch out here in the streets because she's taking over her husband's business. So he about to get into business with Monet, and the episode goes off. For the series premiere, I thought it was cute. There was a lot of whoop-de-whoop, same bullshit that we had problems with and I had issues with Power. All around in a circle, they just make shit be whatever the fuck they want to, and shit just is 1 minute is this, 1 minute is that. It's just too much for me to even wrap my brain around. I like the direction of the show. I like the younger flavor. I love the house party scene. That was my favorite scene of the night. I don't like this love triangle that they're going to put Tariq in with Lauren and Diana. I hate it. Why can't he just like one bitch? I don't like that shit. I don't want to do the Angela Tasha thing again and do the whole versus thing. Let them just be with one bitch and call it a day. Like, I don't like that we're repeating that whole thing there. I hope that they're not repeating the storyline with Jabari and Caradine or whatever, like Angela was with that White Boy season 1. I hope they're not repeating that. I'm very intrigued by Monet's character as well as Kane. Kane seems like he's going to be the new Kanan. See the coordination. Overall, I give the series premiere of Power Ghost Book 2. The title sucks. A B minus. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't great. It was good. It was good. I'll watch it again. And maybe the second time I'll maybe see things that I didn't get to see because I was taking notes. But overall, I give it a B minus. It was a start. I just think they need to just stop with the whole ring around the rosy thing. Just make it a little bit more simplistic, because they fucked themselves over by trying to overcomplicate the script and what's happening in this world. And I don't want it to be another season where a whole nother series where this whole show is taking place in the wintertime. Like, this shit is stupid, bruh. Tyrique was just in high school, like in the 10th grade. Now this nigga in college. What in the fuck? Yasmin is like in 6th grade now. Like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. I want Tasha out of jail. Free Tasha on some C murder type shit. She didn't do it. Yeah, I like Method Man's character. He's gonna be the new Proctor. I just want them to do something different. I don't want them to repeat the same things that we just went through in Power. But we'll see where this goes. Let me know what y'all thought about the series premiere down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love you guys. My throat is dry. Bye.